Gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John. He claimed he has a misery, but he having a lot of fun. Oh, baby. Yes, baby.
Hello, YouTube. This is That Guy 781, and I decided to give a. I actually mentioned this gun, and I didn't do like a true review on it. I just kind of, advised. I traded my Glock for it, and I hadn't shot it yet, and I like it, and I like the finish, and I like the feel. So this video is actually going to be not an overview, but a true review of the gun now that I've actually shot it. Let's go to the safety check it. Mag did have ammunition in it. Oop, safety. Nothing in there. Alright. Let's go over what happened at the range. So I took it to the range. I took exactly 100 rounds of 45. I only shot 50 because I didn't want to deplete all of it after I thought about it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the G1 Expert can actually make you shoot like an expert. It truly can. I'm going to roll in some footage of me actually shooting. I think, I didn't label my targets, but I can tell you which one they are in the videos. But I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones I got. As I'm shooting a little bit down and to the left, I think that's because I'm really used to my my standard of a combat trigger, which is usually 5 pounds. It's kind of standard on the Glocks, and it's kind of actually usually my reference standard for a combat trigger. So with the trigger being on average, from what I understand, on this 1911 3.5 pounds, it affected my accuracy, not in a truly negative way. I just have to learn to compensate for the lighter trigger. I said I was shooting down to the left, so there's nobody in this direction, by the way. We'll safety check the weapon again. But see, and I have the safety on right now, by the way. As I was shooting, I kind of move it just a little. And it's just because it's so light. Like, usually what I do is I try to stage it. I'm like, with the Glock, grab the trigger, move it back right to its breaking point, hold the gun still and shoot. But with this, because it breaks so crisp, I have to really get used to that. And I'm not the best shot in the world to begin with, so it took a while to get used to. But there was no failure to defeats or failure to ejects on the gun's part. The only issue I had was because of this magazine, and I'm going to contact Para Ordnance about it so that I can get this magazine replaced. I even marked it with a B for bad, because basically what would happen is I'd shoot, and on about the 7th to 8th round, it'd be a failure to feed, and it'd clearly be because of the magazine lips. While looking at both of the magazines empty, I couldn't see any true visual differences, but clearly there's something wrong with the craftsmanship on this magazine. The Metgar magazine, on the other hand, that one worked awesome. I didn't have any issues with that. I didn't have any issues with this Para magazine here. Now, given that the gun is 39 ounces, it really did help in the accuracy department. And because of that extra weight, it's a very soft shooting 1911 because I believe it is steel. And also, the original owner of the gun actually placed these Pachmeyer grips on there. I shot the gun with the standard grip that it has on it now, and it was fine. But when I shot it with these, it was so much more comfortable and so much more controllable. So the gun's accurate, reliable. Just got to swap out that magazine. I do want to reference that the finish on the gun, I've actually carried this a couple of days. I carried a full-size 1911. It felt crazy doing it, but I did it. And I'd say the finish on this gun, I don't think it's going to last very long. Because if we look closely, if you can tell closely there, the finish is kind of starting to rub off. That's from holster wear. And also around here, that too is starting to fade off a little bit from just a couple days of wearing it in the holster. So I think I'm going to get a cheaper 1911, or the one that I want to carry that's smaller, like a officer or commander size. And I'll probably get like a Rock Island Armory that I'll actually carry. Also, the 3-dot sights really did help as far as accuracy. It's very similar to the system I have on my Beretta. So that really did work out well for me. Something else I want to mention about my gun was I took it apart the wrong way. I didn't really look at the manual. Don't ever do that. Always read the manual instructions first when you have a firearm before using it, disassembling it, cleaning it, or anything. Read the instructions. But I felt pig-headed. I'm like, I have a ton of guns, take apart guns, my guns all the time. I'm pretty sure I could do this. Well, the 1911 is a completely different beast than taking apart a Glock, Beretta, Kel-Tec PF9, or Ruger Mark II, or 2245, an LCP, or a Walther. It's just a completely different beast. So, when I took it apart, I kind of took it apart without that instructions, as stated. But I was a little bit of rhyme behind my reason. I really just want to figure out how to do it on my own and see if I can put it back together. And I actually did have it back together the right way. But the problem was, because the gun is so new, that when you go to put the slide on the actual rail, it was getting caught up at a certain point. And I don't want to take it apart now because of time reasons, and everyone's seen a 1911 field stripped. But basically, the slide would stop like right about there, and I couldn't get it on all the way. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm sorry, I'm not too good with this camera angle. I'm trying a new camera angle. I'm still getting used to it. But it stopped like right about there, and what happens is there's a little pin that comes up, and the slide was actually getting caught on it. I pushed the pin down and it still wouldn't go on. So finally what I had to do is freaking force it back on. Like, I used like quite a bit of pressure to push it back, and then it actually caught on at that time. And I did assemble it correctly. It still fires appropriately. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm standing with this gun. I'm really liking the fit, finish. I say the finish probably isn't going to last long. But then again, it is a sub $600 1911. I probably, it would have been better if I would have been able to get this gun in stainless, but I say this is a gun I traded for. I didn't buy it new, even though it was in like practically brand new condition. Now, a little bit of philosophy on this. One reviewer, nothing fancy, he's done a couple things on 1911s, not a whole lot, but I watched a couple of his videos on it, and I don't know, one of the earlier videos I saw, he said he wouldn't choose a 1911 to go to war. And then he got his Smith & Wesson 1911, and he said, you know, it is a go-to-war gun. That's kind of varying between person to person. Would I go to war with my 1911 that I have here, single stack 8+1? Yeah, I don't see any problems with it. I just recommend having a lot of magazines and getting used to the different battery of arms, which is obviously going to be different than what I'm used to using, which is like the Glock or the Beretta, but I definitely go to war with it. 45 is a pretty hard, nasty kicking round, and I have Hornady tap ammunition, I think, in here for personal defense. This is what I was carrying it with, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. Show you this one of the rounds. There you go. It's Hornady ammunition. So yeah, I'm definitely freaking satisfied with it. I'd go to war with it. I'd go to war with it in an instant. Would it be my first choice out of my guns? Probably not. It'd be like my second choice as far as handguns. Because I'd rather go to war with my Beretta and have 18+1. And having an awesome trigger and night sights and all that stuff, as opposed to, like, you know, the Para. The Para is an awesome gun. I definitely recommend it to. If you're getting into the 1911 game new, I'd say get one. But if you don't care about how stealthy the gun looks, I'd recommend getting the stainless steel one. I don't recommend going for this black/blue because, as you can see, after only 2 days of wear and shooting, the finish is starting to kind of come off around the edges. But overall, it's still a pretty nice gun. Shoots well. I stated I highly recommend it. And I'm going to roll in some footage of me actually hitting some targets. Unfortunately, I was the only one with the camera. I was the only one there by myself, so the camera angle is actually only going to be the targets being shot. Now, every shot is at 10 yards. That's actually the standard in which I practice my handguns, unless I'm shooting like, you know, like my target pistols or something like that, then I'll push it out a bit further. So here's the clips, and thank you guys for watching. having trouble with my magazine. I think I have a bad to mark this one somehow, but it's not allowing me to shoot the last round. This must be this magazine.